Welcome to the Story World channel. Enjoy your viewing experience. In the early hours of the morning, June hurriedly readied herself for another day at work. Despite the early hour, a lack of weariness or sleepiness fueled her movements. Swiftly, she'd assembled sandwiches for her husband, expertly wrapping them in foil before placing them on the table. Bernard, her husband, toiled at an auto service, a place that offered no provision for lunches. Consequently, he had to carry sustenance with him each day. June, on the other hand, worked as a cook at a distant canteen. Her schedule demanded that she rise 2 hours before her spouse, an early awakening that she welcomed without disturbance. A drizzle of rain outside prompted June to retrieve an umbrella from the hallway's top shelf. As she pulled it down, the umbrella eluded her grip, tumbling to the floor. Momentarily frozen, June glanced toward the bathroom, relieved that her husband remained asleep. An amused smile crossed June's lips as she contemplated her own clumsiness. With care, she slipped out of the door, ready to embrace the day. Seated on the bus, June gazed upon the waking cityscape, her thoughts drifting to her own life story. At nearly 30 years of age, she found herself in a contented marriage. Yet, one unfulfilled desire cast a shadow. She and her husband yearned for a child. Despite consulting numerous doctors over 4 years of marriage, June's hopes had met with disappointment. The medical professionals merely shrugged, insisting that her health was unblemished. The bus eventually halted at its destination, interrupting June's pensive reverie. Stepping out onto the streets, she ventured toward the canteen, passing through the adjacent park. Within the park's confines, June's steps slowed to a halt as she encountered a scene of bewilderment. A young girl, clad in a thin jacket, sat upon a damp bench, tears mingling with rain on her cheeks. Compassionately, June approached the child, her voice gentle as she inquired, "Hello, why are you here all alone?" Through sobs, the girl managed to explain, "My mom kicked me out." The revelation left June incredulous, as the notion of a mother abandoning her child in the rain seemed unfathomable. The girl's narrative unfolded. She had awakened her sleeping mother, only to be met with anger and expulsion. Initially finding shelter beneath a staircase, the girl's circumstances had led her to this wet bench. Moved by the girl's plight, June extended a comforting hand, offering solace in the midst of the rain-drenched Hardetch. Arriving at the unfamiliar location, June took in her surroundings. "And what might your name be?" she inquired, her gaze fixed on the young girl before her. "Nora," came the prompt response as the girl met June's gaze. Contemplating the situation at hand, June's mind raced. "What am I to do with you, Nora?" she pondered aloud, casting a quick glance at her watch. The urgency of the moment prompted a decision. "All right then, let's proceed. How far do you reside from here?" she inquired. With a casual gesture, Nora gestured in a vague direction. The two embarked on the path indicated by the girl. Within a mere 5 minutes, they found themselves standing before an apartment building. Upon pressing the doorbell, June anticipated a swift response. Yet moments stretched into what felt like an eternity before the door creaked open. A disheveled woman, clad in a tattered and soiled robe, greeted them with a bleary-eyed stare. Straggles of unwashed hair framed her aged and swollen countenance. Surveying the unexpected visitors with a mixture of astonishment and confusion, the woman offered a wordless invitation for them to enter. June crossed the threshold, the oppressive odor within the apartment instantly assaulting her senses and inducing a feeling of nausea. The interior was a testament to neglect, strewn rags, scattered bottles, and a thick layer of dust that seemed to have settled over time. The sorry state of disrepair was undeniable, painting a grim picture of the dwelling's inhabitants. Amidst her bewilderment, June's gaze alighted upon a framed photograph resting on a sideboard. Recognition washed over her as she realized she had encountered this very image before. It had resided within her husband's photo album, though in a more fragmented state. Here, however, the photograph was intact, revealing a young and strikingly beautiful woman standing beside Bernard, her husband. A sense of connection and realization blossomed within June. She turned to regard the unkempt woman who stood before her, a multitude of questions unspoken in her gaze. The woman's puzzled expression mirrored June's own uncertainty. Summoning her resolve, June addressed the situation at hand. "Your daughter, Nora, finds herself in dire circumstances," she began, her voice a mixture of concern and reproach. "She spends her days crying in the park, seeking shelter beneath the stairs in the entryway. How can you be so indifferent? Isn't shame a warranted emotion?" The woman's retort was laced with defensiveness. "Don't presume to lecture me on parenting," she snapped, her words tinged with bitterness. "Worry about your own children and steer clear of mine." In that charged moment, an unspoken understanding hung in the air, the juxtaposition of compassion and neglect, a plea for empathy amid the backdrop of callous indifference. In a sudden shift of focus, the woman's gaze bore into her daughter, her tone laced with anger. "Where have you been, you little troublemaker?" she scolded, her voice dripping with disdain. "I'll teach you a lesson in how to disgrace your own mother." Swiftly, the girl darted into the adjacent room and slammed the door shut behind her, seeking refuge from her mother's wrath. From outside the closed door, the sounds of pounding fists and a torrent of curses echoed, a stark reminder of the tumultuous scene unfolding within. Recognizing that her intervention had reached its limits, June's heart heavy with the weight of what she had witnessed, she made a solemn decision. With a resigned sigh, she turned away, the weight of the situation lingering in her thoughts as she departed. Throughout the course of the day, June found herself consumed by reflections on the young girl and the haunting photograph, as well as the untamed woman whose life story intersected with that of her husband. As the evening cast its subdued glow, June approached Bernard, clutching the cropped photograph in her hand. Curiosity tinged with a hint of vulnerability colored her voice as she inquired, "Bernard, can you tell me who this person is, the one standing beside you in this picture?" With a contemplative expression, Bernard hesitated before launching into a tale of lost love and heartache. "I mentioned Goldie to you before," he began, his voice a mixture of nostalgia and pain. "We were deeply involved, on the brink of marriage, until she chose another path. She left me shortly before we parted ways, revealing that she was carrying another man's child. Despite Bernard's fervent efforts to persuade her otherwise, Goldie chose to terminate the pregnancy." The memory of that pain-laden chapter lingered, etched into Bernard's life story. "I left town to heal," he confessed, "and that's when fate led me to you, and we embarked on this new journey together. As you can see, there are no hidden secrets, but may I ask why you're curious about this now?" Recalling the unusual encounter of the previous day, June relayed the tale of the distraught girl and her connection to the photograph. Bernard listened intently, his expression shifting between contemplation and surprise. Finally, he posed a crucial question. "How old did you say the girl was?" Upon receiving June's answer, a flicker of realization sparked within Bernard. "Yes," he mused, "it's a possibility. She could very well be my daughter." Armed with newfound information, June shared the location where the girl and her mother resided. The day concluded, the weight of the revelations echoing in the quiet hours of night as June retired to bed, her fatigue mirrored in her fractured dreams. In the wee hours of the morning, June stirred from her restless slumber, a nagging sense of restlessness compelling her to investigate. The soft glow of light filtering from the kitchen beckoned her attention. Silently, she approached, her heart quickening as she observed Bernard, deep in contemplation at the table. The following day dawned with a sense of purpose. Bernard stood before the door of his past, his hand poised to ring the bell. The door swung open, revealing a small figure, the very embodiment of the photograph's young girl, Nora. An unexpected smile graced Bernard's lips, and his voice was gentle as he spoke. "Hello there. Are you Nora?" is your mother home?" The little girl regarded him with wide-eyed wonder, a glimmer of recognition illuminating her features. "Mom, there's someone here to see you," she called out, her voice carrying through the apartment. Anticipation hung in the air as Bernard stood at the threshold, ready to face a chapter of his past that had remained dormant for too long. From the confines of the room, a face, swollen and worn by time, gazed out, capturing Bernard's attention. The sight before him tugged at the strings of his memory, for it was none other than Goldie, a woman he had once cherished deeply. "You!" Bernard's voice wavered, his shock palpable as he struggled to reconcile the image before him with the memories he held of the woman he had loved. The woman's response was laden with a blend of anger and surprise. "What brings you here? Who invited you?" she demanded, her tone laced with a mix of resentment and disbelief. Without hesitation, Bernard stepped into the apartment, his footsteps echoing in the air that carried the unmistakable odor of neglect. "Dory," Bernard's voice held a weight of earnestness, "I need to know the truth." As his words hung in the air, Goldie's gaze met his, her eyes reflecting a tumult of emotions. The gravity of the situation compelled her to reveal a hidden truth that had lingered between them for years. "Nora," Bernard spoke her name, his voice gentle yet laced with a sense of urgency. "Judging by her age, she could very well be my daughter. Is it true?" A hiccup escaped Goldie's lips, her gaze lifting to meet Bernard's. She hesitated before her voice quivered, laying bare a revelation that had long remained veiled. "Lend me some money," she implored, desperation seeping into her words. "I really need it. You haven't paid alimony, and I've been taking care of her, feeding her, clothing her. I never took a penny from you. At least give me $50 now." Bernard's eyes narrowed, a mixture of frustration and incredulity sweeping over him as he confronted the web of lies that had defined their past. "Why did you lie to me?" His voice carried a note of accusation. "You told me you got rid of the baby." "I wanted to." Goldie's voice wavered, her eyes brimming with a mixture of regret and sorrow. "But Jat said he wanted the baby, that he would be a father to her. Then he abandoned us. When Nora was only 3 months old, he left, claiming he didn't want to raise another man's child. I tried to come back to you, but you were already gone." Frustration and compassion warred within Bernard as he absorbed Goldie's words. "I want to do a DNA test," he declared, determination driving his resolve. "If Nora truly is my daughter, I'll take her." Goldie's response was laced with a bitter wariness, her gaze flickering toward her daughter who approached hesitantly. The weight of their shared history bore down on her as she spoke. "Take her now. She's become a burden, always in the way. I'm tired of it all. Feeding her, clothing her, the constant demands. Give me some money, Bernard." In that moment, Nora's voice emerged, a small yet significant presence in the room. "Are you my daddy?" she queried, her eyes searching Bernard's face. Meeting her gaze, Bernard's voice was tender as he affirmed, "Yes, Kyla, I'm likely your daddy. Would you be okay with coming with me?" The girl's gaze shifted to her mother, uncertainty coloring her expression. In a soft voice, she stated her condition. "I agree, as long as you promise not to fight." Bernard's response was immediate, his voice sincere. "Kyla, I swear I've never hurt a child or a woman." A smile graced the young girl's lips, and Bernard's hand gently brushed her wavy hair. With a final look, he exited the apartment, his mind racing to devise a plan for the uncertain road ahead. Yet, before he could descend the stairs, Goldie's presence reappeared, her voice tinged with desperation. "Bernard, perhaps you could spare a bit more money. Just a little." In response, Bernard extended a few more bills, the spark of hope rekindling in Goldie's eyes as she grasped them. The path ahead remained uncertain, but within that moment, a glimmer of change began to take shape. A wicked grin unfurled across her countenance. Bernard's resolve crumbled, compelling his return. Upon entering the abode, Nora's silhouette lingered. Midway through the corridor, a shroud of melancholy in her gaze. "Adorn thyself and accompany me." Bernard's command resonated. Within his mind, a solitary notion echoed relentlessly. My offspring, my duty to protect, to stand by. 30 minutes elapsed before Nora traversed the threshold of Bernard's sanctuary. Recognition ignited. The woman who had ushered her to a haven of solace, June, stood bewildered, incredulity etched across her visage. During a spell of Boston's sun-kissed embrace, Nora frolicked in the chamber, accompanied by a feline fellow. June, her voice a curious whisper, turned to her spouse. "Truly, do you find conviction in your course? Nary a glimpse of her history, yet certitude shall emerge. The path to understanding unfolds beneath my questing gaze. Of a certainty, righteousness shone through, a luminous beacon, her existence intertwined with Goldie's, a burden too immense to bear." June's path diverted, leading her into the heart of the kitchen. Tears streamed unabated, unchecked tides of emotion. Why must this trial befall her, an enigma of fate? A yearning unfulfilled, the maternal dream now embodied in Keela. How shall she wield the mantle of motherhood? A tapestry of concerns, woven with threads of uncertainty. Could she, indeed, foster the tenderest bond, or falter beneath the weight of this sacred charge? A tempest of resentment, a conflagration ignited. Searing flames of indignation, directed at her consort, at Goldie, at life. Within June's depths, a soothing touch brushed her crown, anticipating her spouse's comfort, yet met by Keela's gaze. Are you plagued by discomfort? Has pain crossed your path? Or perhaps an accidental encounter has left you in tears? In my moments of turmoil, fairy tales bring solace. Perchance I could share one, a tale of wonder and delight. June succumbed to sobs, embracing the girl with fervent embrace. The passage of a year witnessed pivotal trials. A DNA's truth pursued, not to sever but to fortify. Nora, the emblem of their commitment, a cause worth every battle. Love kindled and burgeoned, an unspoken pact, unbreakable. June's heart resonated with devotion profound, as they embarked upon a shared journey of affection. Bernard, transformed into a steadfast father, Kylo, his cherished kin. In an unexpected turn of events, fate weaved an intricate tapestry, entwining the threads of June's day with a sense of foreboding. The morning unfurled with a weight upon her spirit, an ailment that sought to shroud her in the comforts of home. Despite the yearning to remain ensconced within her haven, duty's call resonated, compelling her to traverse the path to work. As the sun arched its way across the sky, casting ephemeral shadows upon the world, June found herself ensnared within the grasp of an unwelcome frailty. The hours of toil exacted their toll, and in a moment of profound weakness, she succumbed to the embrace of unconsciousness. Colleagues rallied to her side, arms outstretched to catch her falling form, a symphony of concern echoing in their hurried steps. Time seemed to stretch its wings, the confines of unconsciousness a realm unto itself. Eventually, June stirred from her slumber, the sterile scent of a hospital filling her senses. Perplexity danced within her gaze as she posed the question that danced upon her lips, "Doctor, what ails me?" The physician's voice carried a calm assurance, seeking to quell the tendrils of fear that ensnared June's heart. "Fear not, dear patient, tests have been conducted, their secrets soon to be unveiled. Rest assured, your loved ones shall soon grace these halls, their hearts laden with concern." As the doctor departed, Bernard and Nora entered the room, a wave of comfort washing over June. Nora's inquiries flowed ceaselessly, a torrent of concern and curiosity woven into her words. June's voice, a soothing balm, offered reassurances. "Fear not, my dear Nora, I shall mend with time." A familiar presence returned, the doctor's voice resonating with a mix of reproach and revelation. "Why, dear patient, did you withhold such a pivotal truth? Within your very being, a new life has taken root, the beacon of pregnancy illuminating your path. Eyes widened, reality shifted, and June's heart raced as the truth bore down upon her. "Pregnant?" she whispered, her voice a tremulous melody that danced upon the air. Bernard's eyes sought hers, a mirror of shared astonishment, confirming the doctor's proclamation. Within the sanctuary of the hospital room, a symphony of emotions swirled. Joy blossomed, unrestrained and effervescent, as the couple embraced the realization of impending parenthood. The waiting room echoed with the giddy laughter of family, each heartbeat a testament to the unity that bound them together. Days melded into months, anticipation mounting with each passing moment. The hospital's sterile embrace gave way to the warm cocoon of home. The once fragile dream now materialized into a strong, vibrant reality. A son, robust and brimming with vitality, emerged into the world's embrace. Nora, a steadfast pillar of support, enveloped her foster mother with tenderness and care. Together, they embarked on a journey of nurturing, a chorus of love that reverberated within the walls of their abode. But fate, it seemed, was not yet done weaving its enchanting tapestry. As time flowed, a new chapter unfurled, a cherubic figure named Camilla. Joy knew no bounds as Bernard and June embraced this precious addition to their lives. Their family, once a trio, now burgeoned into a big friendly ensemble, a tapestry woven with laughter, shared dreams, and boundless love. In the heart of their harmonious household, June stood, a guardian of dreams realized. She couldn't help but reflect upon the serendipitous arrival of Nora, whose gentle spirit had paved the way for this radiant happiness. Bound by threads of destiny and love, their family portrait painted a tale of hope, perseverance, and the profound beauty of unexpected blessings.